Today we're talking all things outdoor activities in Clark County, Washington. Hey, welcome back to the Living in Vancouver and Camas, Washington YouTube channel. I'm your host, Hannah Dubyne, and I'm stoked that you're here today because we're talking about outdoor activities in Clark County, Washington. This is one of the biggest reasons why people move to Washington as a whole, but specifically the Clark County region, because we have a lot of opportunities here. You can pretty much do everything outdoorsy in this part of the country, and it's awesome. I definitely took it for granted growing up. So today I wanted to share with you guys 7 categories, and within the 7 categories, I'm gonna share some specific places or things you could do in the area. So let's get into it. By the way, sign up for our weekend events newsletter, Weekend Happenings with Hannah. We handwrite it every week. It's the best 4 or 5 local events happening in the area, and we send it straight to your inbox. We'll have the link down below. Okay, so my first category is boating and water sports. You can't think of the Pacific Northwest without thinking of water. So lucky you, we have lots of bodies of water in this area that you could go enjoy. The one that comes to mind first is the Columbia River. The Columbia River separates Oregon and Washington. It's a big river if you've never seen one. And I would say it's good for a lot of things. Absolutely, there's tons of people taking out all their different types of boats all summer. Speed boats, wake boats, fishing boats, sailboats, yachts, all of those things. And if you like to kiteboard, you should go check out Hood River or White Salmon. If you're a kiteboarder, you probably already know about that because it's a very well-known spot around the world. But just an hour drive east is gonna get you over there and you can go kiteboard. Another great body of water in Clark County is 𝐿ac Lake. 𝐿ac Lake is smaller, but it's nice for swimming. It's nice for hanging out with the family. It's very long and narrow, so you know the boating options are just kind of going back and forth. It's not really a big lake you can do circles in, and it gets kind of full on the weekends, but you can take your boat out there. We like doing jet skis on 𝐿ac Lake in the summer because it's super close by and there's just room for that, so that's one thing we enjoy there. Another body of water would be Vancouver Lake. Vancouver Lake is not the best lake for swimming because it has algae and the water is not super great for that. But there's a rowing club that rows daily on Vancouver Lake, and it's great to look at, and it's nice to go sit on the beach. You can go to Frenchman's Bar Park and sit on the sand beach. So that's what I'd say about Vancouver Lake. And then the last big body of water I'd recommend would be Lake Merwin. Lake Merwin is up north a little bit. It's past 𝐿ac. It's a bigger lake, a little bit colder, but it's got like campsites and hiking trails around it. There's little cabins up there. Some people have those as second homes, and that's another great place to take your boat and go hang out. My second category is winter sports. The first place that comes to mind and the closest is Mount Hood and Timberline Resort. And if you are a skier or a snowboarder, you're gonna have to check that out. It's only an hour and a half, 2-hour drive from where we're at in Clark County, so it's very convenient to go there just for the day and then come back. If you don't like Mount Hood and you don't like what they got going on up there, which I'm not a skier or a snowboarder, so I don't pretend to be, there's lots of other close options here in Washington area and in Oregon. You go down to Bend, you go up to Snoqualmie Pass, you go to Idaho and go to Schweitzer. Those are all great weekend trips, and you're gonna be very close to fresh powder here. Next activity on my list would be biking. There are lots of paved trails in this area that you could bike on, too many to list. I think one of the nicest is the waterfront. You go from the downtown Vancouver waterfront all the way to McMinimums and beaches. That's a really nice scenic path to bike. If you're more of a sport biker, like for working out, or you want to kind of do mountain biking, I know that 𝐿ac Park has some mountain bike trails back there in the park. Other than that, I'm not too informed on mountain biking in the area, though I do know there's lots of opportunities for it. The fourth category I have on my list is motocross. Motocross is kind of more of a niche outdoor activity, but it's a popular one here. In Washougal, we have a motocross track. I've never been, I know I should go. I have friends that are really into that. But you know, it's cool for dirt biking and all of those kind of things, and they have tons of events all summer long, and it does attract a national presence. So if you're into that kind of thing, Washougal, is the spot for you. Okay, number 5 on my list is hikes and trails. This is probably the most popular one that people move here for. They want to get outside more, they want to use their feet, they want to go out with the family, with their dogs. I could make this list 20 or 30 long because there's just so many options here, but that's gonna make the video too long. So instead I'd say do some research online if you want a 20 or 30 long list. And also this book I get for a lot of my clients, and it's got a lot of great hikes in it, so check that out. The Salmon Creek Greenway up in the north part of Vancouver is also very scenic. You can walk along this body of water. It can get kind of busy on the weekends, but it's very nice. We also have Washington State University Vancouver campus in Mount Vista area of Vancouver, and they have lots of nice trails up there. That's actually one of the reasons why people like to live in that area, is so they can go utilize those trails. So that is owned by the school, and I would say definitely check that out. Another fun one to add to the list, which is a little bit more east down the gorge, is the Cape Horn Lookout. This is when you hike to the top and then you get a beautiful view and you take a picture and you put it on Instagram and Facebook for all your friends to see. So if you want something more scenic, there are many hikes like that up and down the gorge that are within a couple hours, and it's really fun. The 6th thing on my list is camping. Camping is definitely not something that everyone enjoys. I never camped growing up, but I am basically married into a family that does camping, and they have since, you know, they were all kids. So that's one thing I've gotten to enjoy over the last 5 or 6 years. There are so many campsite options here. It's really nice. A lot of the great ones are down in Oregon around Mount Hood. A lot of that area is natural forest and it's protected and it's state-owned land, et cetera, et cetera. We go to a spot called Timothy Lake every summer, which is really pristine and beautiful. There's no motorboats allowed on the lake, so it's very just natural down there. But literally there are dozens and dozens of campsites just around that lake. Other places we've gone camping, you know, we've gone to Eastern Washington to go camping as well. There are camping spots along the gorge as you go on I-84. Those ones are, I'd say, are a little bit less scenic. As you go to Eastern Washington, the terrain changes a lot. It gets dry, it gets dusty, you see little dust balls blowing everywhere, and all the nice lush green trees go away. But it's a fun experience for sure. The 7th category and final category on my list today is beaches. If you are moving from California, like so many of our clients do, you might be missing a beach. And lucky for you, you're not gonna be too far from the beach. It's just a day trip away, a couple hours out westward, and you're gonna hit the Washington and Oregon coast. 3 of the big beaches that people like to go to in this area would be like Lincoln City, Cannon Beach, and Seaside. They're all a little bit more touristy, and of course you could go to one of the smaller towns as well. But it's a really nice place to get away for a weekend, especially in the summer when it's super, super hot. We go out to the beach every Memorial Day weekend. We usually go to Seaside area, Lincoln City area, and it's really, really nice. Fun place to fly a kite and hang out. One of the feedback things that I've heard from my California clients is they go to the beach and there's literally no room. You're right next to someone else that you don't know. Like there's no room on the beach for anyone. The good news is that here there's still plenty of room for people to spread out and be far away from other parties. In some parts of the beaches, you can actually drive up on the beach as well. So a lot of people will drive up their truck. Don't try to drive up your like Toyota Corolla from 1995. You're gonna get stuck. I've seen it too many times. But people will drive their truck up and they'll pitch up, you know, a whole bunch of chairs, and they'll start a fire pit, and they'll do a volleyball net, or they'll have their charcoal grill out. It's a super fun time. Well, those are my top outdoor activity categories here in Clark County, Washington. This is one of the reasons I love living here. If you feel like I missed something from the list, feel free to comment it down below. We'd love to hear from you. And honestly, if you're thinking about moving to this area, we would love to serve you here at Dubyne Realty Group. So please text us, DM us on Instagram at Hannah Dubyne, or send us an email. That contact info is down below. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.